Hello, good people. I'm John Sinclair from the Bach Festival, Florida of Winter Park. And I want to tell you about this season, our 92nd season. Let me start right at the beginning and take you a little bit through the entire season, starting with Room Full of Teeth. This is a 2-time Grammy Award-winning vocal ensemble. World class. They make some of the most unusual and creative sounds of vocalists you will ever hear. And if you've never heard Room Full of Teeth, it's a must-see, and this is the first time the Bach Festival has ever presented them. Please be a part of this group's performance. It will change your ideas of what the human voice can do. On we go, speaking of what the human experience can create, on we go to the incomparable Berlioz Requiem, considered one of the biggest masterworks for choir and orchestra you can have. Berlioz was experimenting with surround sound and thunderous sonic sounds. And this is the way that it takes big chorus, big orchestra, 4 brass choirs. We will have at least 12 timpani playing on stage. It is a huge piece. It's at Steinmetz, and this is not just a concert. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience to hear. On we go to a program that, with our Bach vocal artists in our 4th season, called Fable, Feathers, and Fins. I've had a lot of fun putting this program together. If nothing else, just the title is fun for me. It starts with a fable, Menotti's Unicorn, Gorgona, and Manticore. A choral work that takes you on a story of breaking down people's preconceptions and the process of aging gracefully. It is a profound fable, and then surrounding it is a whole program of other pieces of music about animals. The Bluebird of Stanford, one of the most transcendent pieces you could find. Also, Prayers of the Ark by another English composer, Davies, as well as a few kind of fun, edgy pieces at the end. I think it's going to be a fun program, and to hear the Bach vocal artists sing is in itself a treat. Then on to a program called the Boston Six. You see, in the mid-1800s and the early 1900s, the Europeans didn't think very much of the quality of the music of Americans. And then came this group, and they were all seemed to be surrounded in the Boston area, New England area, and thus got the reputation called the Boston Six. And there are composers like Amy Beach and Arthur Foote and Horatio Parker, not names that fall off the tip of your tongue now, but they were really important. They were the composers that made Europeans stand up and say, ooh, they have some great musicians in America and some great composers. And these are the composers that Europe first loved from America. They were the precursors of the Burnsides and the Copelands. So interesting program, great music, educational as well as enlightening and entertaining. On to the Christmas and the classic Christmas. What do you say about this piece? It's a program that Central Florida has embraced as its holiday tradition, and we're really thrilled that you do. We love being a part of your holiday. This program, like every other year, you will come and know every piece on this program, but you might not know the arrangements because they're all written for us. And this is a special year. This is a year that we're filming for broadcast. If you were not aware, this program gets picked up by American Public TV and ends up in most of the stations and most of the states in the country every Christmas. So come and be a part of that broadcast and be a part to hear that program first before the rest of the country does. So one more concert before the festival, Paul Galbraith, classical guitarist. He's been here before, but it's been a number of years. He's considered one of the greatest guitarists alive, and he's a magnificent player. What also is very unusual about Paul is how he plays the classical guitar. As you know, most guitarists hold the guitar like this way. Paul does it differently. It's on a stand, leans back, has a whole different sound. What that really does for it, it helps the sound project. The sound projects like no other classical guitarist I've ever heard. And it's his own unique style. But if you love chamber music, you love the intimacy of hearing a fabulous classical guitarist, this is the program for you. Now on to our 92nd annual festival, kind of our landmark programming for the year of how we started. Starts this year with a program by BVA called Music for the Night. Now, as a certifiable night owl, I've always loved the peacefulness and the quiet. I love the stars. I love being a part of the experience of nighttime. And this whole program takes you to music that composers wrote thinking about the nighttime. Everything from star scenes to the dawn coming into dark. It is fabulous, especially the music of Morton Lordson, Eric Whitacre, other composers you may or may not know, but every one of those composers you're going to leave with thinking, man, I love that music. It'll be a fabulous night with the incomparable, beautiful singing of the Bach vocal artist. Then on to an organ recital. We always offer a free organ recital through the graciousness of the Conger Organ Fund at Rollins College. And this year, the artist is Ken Cowan, one of the best organists in the world, fabulous guy, fabulous player. And that instrument in the chapel, you know, is a very historic instrument and a beautifully big, powerful organ. And to hear that with a master at the keyboard is a treat. So another one for you to come. And that's a free concert, although we want you to reserve your tickets so you have a place to sit. To the National Oratorio Competition and our third year, we believe that being an oratorio society and having the longevity that we have, we needed to pay forward a little bit. And so this is now turned out to be one of the preeminent competitions for oratorio singers in the country. And it's in our third season, and we pick 8 finalists from a group of over 100 contestants. And they come to town and they do master classes, and they end with a concert where they each present 2 arias, and we pick a winner. And you as an audience member get to vote. We have an audience prize. It's a little bit like classical music meets The Voice. And it is so much fun. I have fun every time we do this program, and the audience seems to love it, and the audience keeps getting bigger, and we hope it will get bigger again this year with you joining us. It is a fun night, and it's a free night too. It's not ticketed. On to a program that has become a favorite of our audiences. We took it out one time and you reminded us you liked it in, so it's back in. And it's Concertos by Candlelight. Here, great masterworks played with virtuosic artists. And that's what you get of Concertos by Candlelight. This year, Brahms' Violin Concerto and Beethoven's 4th Piano Concerto. Interestingly, if you will figure this out on the festival, I'm making sure in an important year for Bach and Beethoven that I'm doing the 3 Bs, Bach, Beethoven, and Brahms. And this, you'll hear Idemar Zorman, one of the best violinists in the world, and our very own fabulous pianist, Bill Kim, on the Beethoven 4. So a fun evening of virtuosic playing, both from the orchestra and especially from the soloist. The rest of the festival is kind of interesting, especially for me. I'm a big Beethoven fan, and Beethoven passed away in 1827, 200 years from now, from this date. So what do we have to do? Well, we have to honor Beethoven. And so how do you honor Beethoven? Well, we're doing some Beethoven pieces, but the way I thought we could honor him is we could recreate Beethoven's funeral service, and that's what we have done. You will hear all the music that was played and sung at Beethoven's own funeral, including the Cherubini Requiem. Beethoven never wrote a requiem, and the reason he didn't, he was once quoted saying, "Why would I write a requiem when the best one's been written? It's Cherubini's." He loved it, and that was what was at his funeral, and that's what we're going to recreate for you. And I have a feeling when you hear this requiem, it's going to become one of your favorites too, as well as a few other pieces to honor Beethoven after we've done all of his funeral music. On to our final program of the festival, another anniversary year. Beethoven was going to be a lot of fun with his sacred send-off, but now to the meat with ending our festival with the program of St. Matthew Passion in its 300th year anniversary. So, the St. John Passion is known for its visceral kind of muscularness. It's one of Bach's really earliest. And his B minor Mass, the other great big masterpiece of his, which we do regularly, is kind of Bach's history book to the future of compositional techniques. Beautiful and glorious music. But the most elegant, the most sublime, the most virtuosic of all Beethoven's big masterworks, in my humble opinion, is the St. Matthew. It tells the story of the Passion and the resurrection with such clarity and such profoundness and such absolute beauty that this is a program, if you've never seen the St. Matthew Passion, a great year to do it. We have fabulous soloists coming in, and of course, you know, our choir is going to be in top form, and Central Florida's great Oratorio choir. This is a must to see this Passion in the 300th anniversary. Now, we're not through after the festival. We still have quite a few programs, and one in particular features the Ballardet Quartet. Now, this quartet is young artists and is kind of the quartet of the future, in my opinion. That's why I'm bringing them. They have won all kinds of prizes. They are exciting. They play traditional repertoire, and they play also some repertoire that will be new to you. And they're going to join with Beal Kim, who I think was a classmate of theirs, on a few pieces as well. If you love chamber music, the intimacy of a quartet and piano and quartet, this is a program you must see. Bach Vocal Orchestra make another appearance, this time with a plea for peace. Can you think of another time in our history we need more peace than now? I couldn't. And to have a whole evening that pleads for peace and that extols the virtue of peace, that's what this is. Sung with the Bach vocal artists, and the big piece on that program, the big musical work, will be Randall Thompson's Peaceable Kingdom, followed by other works that are all about what does it take and what's our responsibility also to create peace in this world. The next one is just going to be fun. Lo and Behold, I called it Lo and Behold because it features the bass and tenor sections of the Bach choir. If you've not noticed, we have a magnificent men's section in the Bach choir. I thought, let's just feature them this year for fun, and that's what we're doing. A whole evening of them singing and some classical music, but it's going to be all over the map on what you hear. There's a whole cowboy set in there. There's sea shanties. There are doo-wop pieces at the end. You're going to hear the whole spectrum of choral music sung by the tenor and bass section of the Bach Festival Choir. A lot of fun, humor inserted throughout the entire program, as well as great singing with great music. And now we find ourselves at our last program of the season. And so, I don't know if you know this, but the chapel goes under renovation in the year 27, 28. So we have had all of our concerts from the very beginning. Our very first concert of the Bach Festival was in that glorious Knowles Memorial Chapel. And so it seemed like we needed to give the chapel a good send-off too for renovation. It'll be back, and we'll be back in there. But what would be the kind of piece that you would like to see to maybe let those walls ring a lot before we close it down for a little while? And the answer is Vaughan Williams' Dona Nobis Pacem. Powerful, brassy, with our magnificent Bach choir singing this piece. It will be something to behold. And add to that, we have, as you know, a fabulous organ in that chapel. Add to that, what is the most powerful piece? I asked Paul Jacobs, this great organist who's been here a few times, the professor at Juilliard, arguably the best organist in the world. I asked him, what is the most powerful piece for organ? And he said, I think you ought to do the Jongen, and that's what we're doing, the Sinfonia Concertante for orchestra and organ. And the only thing that is wrong about doing this piece of music is that we have not had seat belts installed in the chapel, because you're going to need that. because this is one powerful piece. It's a piece of music that will let you push you back in your chairs to experience the glory and the magnificent power of that chapel, of that organ, of that orchestra, and most especially this fabulous Bach Festival Choir. So please consider joining us for the season. Our website is bachfestivalflorida.org. Buy a subscription, and if not, at least buy some tickets. Come and join this musical community. You know, we're the coolest act in town, and we want you to be a part of this festival, this series. My thought has always been that our seats are reserved, but we're not. And so come and be a part of this community and help us celebrate this great music and this great organization in our 92nd year. Thank you so very much in the past for your patronage, and we hope to see you this year. Bye.